It's time to talk about the cost of living, about prices and wages. Those two things interact and they affect how well off we're feeling, how much money we have left to spend after our wages and our taxes in the real economy. And real wages, which gives you a sense of just how much money we have when you've adjusted for inflation. We'll have a look back over the last few years at how it behaved, because this is a big part of the story about where we are now. The year 2000 to 2008, they were rising pretty steadily, and if they had carried on rising like that, then the line would have gone up like that. You would have been talking about £600 a week in real terms. But look what actually happened. They basically flatlined. They went along there, so they really didn't rise over that entire period. You had this lost decade of growth, the biggest squeeze that we'd ever seen. And more recently, look, there is a glimmer of light because there has been a bit of an increase. But the question is whether that's primarily down to COVID and whether it actually endures. And you've got a lot of things that are interacting here. Higher wages, but also now higher inflation. Have a look at this. This shows you gas prices, wholesale gas prices that we pay in the UK. They're at the highest level we have ever seen. They've come down a little bit just in the last week or so, but nonetheless, incredibly high. That's feeding into all of our bills, as are these things. These are global prices of a few important things. Metals, up by 77% since COVID-19 struck. Crude oil prices, 200% since COVID. Food prices, 40%. In any given period, by the way, 40% would be considered very high. But just look at this. Overall, shipping prices up by 400%. So there's a lot of talk about lorry drivers, about the difficulty of getting things from one place to another in this country. It's a global situation, and that is feeding into all of our prices, and it's pushing up inflation. Now, the Bank of England says that CPI inflation, which is this thing here, just the annual rate at which prices are rising, shouldn't get too high. But here's the thing, they've said that before. They said back in May it was going to go to 2.2%, then it went even higher than that. Then they said it wasn't going to go beyond 3.3%, then it went even higher than that, and now they say it's going to go above 4%. So a lot of people wonder whether inflation is back. We'll be keeping an eye on that in the coming months.